What's up guys, and welcome to the I Went to Fashion School podcast with me, Renata Hoga. Since it's Black History Month, I wanted to create a short episode with Rana to discuss how the practice of art and design can help us to question our heritage and our history, but also enable us to learn more about our cultures and even find healing from difficult experiences. If you haven't already, check out our previous episode to hear Rana talk more about her graduate collection.
Yeah, so going back to the project and the video, what was the importance of your mum speaking her native language in the interview? Because obviously you were asking the questions and she was responding in her native language, which is Somali?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So she was responding in Somali. So what was the importance of that for you?
I feel like her speaking in her language is more beautiful than, her speaking in English, because obviously that's where she's from. And her talking, and I feel like her just having a conversation in her language, I feel like the tone and the way she speaks about it is different than when she speaks in English, because obviously English is not her first language. And just talking her in her own language, I feel like it's refreshing in a way, and it's nice because she's more comfortable. That's where she's from, and talking about it, I feel like it's
Yeah, no, I get that, and I think it's there's a different level to her and the way she
and that's part of her identity as well. That's like her language, where she's from.
That's where she's from. Yeah. So in the video, your mum is talking about a difficult time and a difficult experience, and she's obviously highlighting the realities of what happens when a war breaks out, and so how do you navigate through that and wanting to tell the truth about your experience or our experiences, and not shying away from the truth of it? Because obviously you could have easily just said, oh, this was my mum's garment and I'm making a nice dress, but how did you navigate the fact that this is a difficult subject, but I still want to talk about it? You weren't shy about the fact that you were honest about the reality of what it was. So how did you how was that thinking process? Did you ever think, oh my goodness, maybe I'm talking about something that's too serious, people are not going to appreciate what I'm doing, they might be a bit too nervous to?
Using her story was definitely hard and personal, because it was scary to see the reaction, or even hear the reaction from people, especially in the Somali community, because the whole idea of what is your qabila, what is your tribe, was actually that question, what is your qabila, a lot of people have always asked me that in school. That's how it actually started off. It was literally I remember when I moved in from Amsterdam to the UK, because obviously there was a lot more Somali community in the UK. So when I moved into London, a lot of people were asking me about my tribe, and I remember asking my mum about this question constantly, why does everyone keep asking me about my tribe? What's so serious about it? And she would always avoid it until she started telling me her story, which was obviously about her as a refugee. And it definitely shocked me, because obviously I felt like a lot of kids our age, we take a joke out of it, where we're just oh, what's your tribe? And stuff like that. And we're just oh, your tribe is not good, because we hear it through our parents. And, and I feel like not a lot of people are taking this topic very seriously, if that kind of makes sense. And I thought I could use her story into a fashion I know it's fashion, and I have to make clothes, but I thought I could use her concept, her fashion, her concept, into my collection. For once, just somebody talk about it, but be serious in a way, it's not a joke. And there are a lot of kids that are being affected by it, because I remember when people used to ask me about my tribe, a lot of kids would say horrible things, oh, your tribe is this or your tribe is that, and And it's sad because I feel like not a lot of them, they're like not a lot because like a lot of us we're not born from Somalia anyways, so we don't know about our culture or like our tribe that much. We hear it from our parents.
Mhm.
So when they say this kind of stuff, it comes more from their parents.
Yeah.
And obviously, I get that they're upset because they've been forced to move out from their country because of the war. But I
Mm.
feel like they keep giving I feel like they're giving us kids the wrong message
Mm.
of, the whole idea of tribalism and what it actually means. And I
Yeah.
wanted to change it, and I wanted to use her story, even though like I know it's personal, but I wanted to use that as like a starting point, saying that like, this is my mom's story, and I'm pretty sure someone out there could relate to this.
Mhm.
And this is like a serious topic to be talked about, because I know there
Yeah.
are kids now who are actually being bullied about their tribe, and saying that like your tribe is this and that, and I feel like it's actually like it's a serious topic.
Yeah. And I think also that's like the beauty of like the arts, and actually being able to take different
Mm,
difficult topics within the world, within our communities, and actually finding ways to use it as a starting point for things to actually start being discussed, or things to get reconciled, or for people to actually notice that actually there are certain things that we're doing that are not really benefiting. And I think
yeah.
fashion in particular, because we're both fashion students and fashion
Yes.
graduates,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is important for us to use our tools and our
Mhm.
practices, not just be passive about what we're going through, but to actually use it as a way to navigate the things that we're going through. Um,
Yeah.
like in one of the comments that you were saying that you were remaking your mum's garments into garments that were representative of displacement and healing, and that for me struck me, because I remember doing, like, this was like a long time ago in my A levels, and doing a
Mhm.
project for my art and design on like Congo and its history. And
Mhm.
actually that for me was very in a way therapeutic, because I was able to kind of go back and actually read for myself and know for myself why it was that there was a war, or why it was that
Mhm.
my parents had to migrate. We had to move from Congo to then now live in England. So that for me was an escape, because obviously it is, you never really get the full answer when you ask your parents, because obviously
Yeah.
for
Of
them
course.
a very touchy subject, and it brings back memories. So you only do get, as you're growing up, you get glimpse, and you pick up little informations from relatives or from people within the
Mhm.
community. But actually for me, sitting down and saying, okay, my project is going to be on um Congo, I then discovered so much more. And I think if I hadn't have done art and design, if I hadn't have chosen that topic to do my projects on, I wouldn't have been in the know. um so yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely therapeutic, because it's nice to actually for once acknowledge your own culture and
Yeah.
your own heritage and where you're like from,
Hmm.
because obviously with the whole topic of like the whole idea of like tribalism, like I mean in the UK it has like a lot of negative impact in the Somali community, where it actually drives the Somali community away from their culture and like their tribe, because they just feel like if someone talks about it, it just becomes like an aggressive, like a bad, like an argument in a way.
Hmm.
And obviously like as a fashion student, um I wanted to make sure and like bring that back, and be like, no, wait, like our tribe is important and our culture is important, and that is part of our identity, and we should stand up to that, then
Hmm.
rather try to blend in into like the Western like society and everything. I mean, like it's okay to try to like fit in, but don't lose your heritage part, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
where we're from, like our home country, because
Hmm.
I know that me being born and raised in Amsterdam and definitely not being exposed in my own language, my own mother's tongue, like it was, for me it was very sad, because I felt
Hmm.
like I didn't know who I was in a way. Like I know that I'm Somali, but I didn't know my own language, I didn't know my own culture, and I just felt like I was like somewhere else and not knowing who I was. And I feel
Hmm.
like our parents, they're too scared to talk about it, because obviously it wasn't a happy memory for them at that time.
Yeah.
But I feel like now it's important because, you know, hearing it from my little brother, like they all, you know, they all joke around, they all make a joke about it, because obviously now people are not taking it serious. And, you know,
Yeah.
we have to start off somewhere, you know. So I
Yeah.
thought, you know, I could take my advantage through my own story and through my fashion course and start from there.
Yeah.
And
And
try to show that message, and then try to show through that traditional garment, if that makes sense.
yeah, and obviously like if art is a form of like self-expression and fashion
Mhm.
is also art, then it ties into that because you're trying to express yourself and your culture and where you
Yeah,
come from, but at the
exactly.
same time, in doing so, you're trying to understand it as well. Like
Yeah.
you're not just saying it because you know, like you don't like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
as you start the journey, as you start the project, you begin to know more and more about, you know, where you come from and what things were really like at the time. But at the same time, you're also piecing together um your identity here in the present.
Yeah.
You know, there's the history of where you come from, but there's also the identity that your parents kind of helped form when they came here, because at the same time, like we can't really blame them for not wanting to speak
No,
about
no,
it.
it's, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Because they're them coming here, and your mum mentioned it, she mentioned the fact that actually it was a different culture, it was a different language, it was a different land. And
Yeah.
when you're from another culture and you're coming to this new land and you're trying to survive, it's easy to put your old culture in the back because you're trying to make sense of this new one.
Mhm.
uh, and I guess that's where we come in, because we've come into this like the Western culture. We don't look like the Western, and then but all we know is the West because we weren't, you know, raised in our native country. So we have to kind of
Yeah.
find that balance. And I think for me as well, it like finding that balance is what then inspires my work, because I'm like, actually, I don't have to just tap into the Western history or
Yeah.
Western culture. I can also tap in my African culture, my
Yeah.
African.
Because we always try to fit in from like other people, then rather
Yeah.
than ourselves. And I feel
Hmm.
like if we can start it off, then it would definitely inspire the younger generations to, you know, see like, I don't know, our work and like other people's work and be inspired by that. Because there's so many collections out there that I have seen throughout, obviously, my 3 years in uni and seeing a lot of designers, but I feel like I couldn't relate to any of them, to be honest. And I felt, you know, me as like as part of my identity, I feel like it was very hard to find that. And especially coming from like a black community as well, I don't see a lot of that. So I thought, you know, it's nice to start off somewhere. I know
Yeah.
that obviously the topic is very heavy, but I feel like because there's a lot of collection out there, and I feel like, you know, I could at least use my collection where I could just use the story, where, you know, if someone sees my work, they'd be like, oh, like they see the clothes, you know, they will see the whole outfit collection, but then they would also, you know, like link to the story. They'd be like, oh, you know, I relate to this.
They can also be informed in like other people's reality.
Yeah,
And
I feel like it would definitely give people more knowledge on what's going around as well.
yeah, but also like how you mentioned in terms of like design as well, that there is like I think us included, but there is like more and more designers who are kind of piecing together like Western culture and their native culture to kind of
Yeah,
create like a hybrid of culture and style. And I think that's very representative of like the new generation that's coming, like of us. Do you know what I mean? Because even the way we dress, like if you look in my wardrobe or your wardrobe, you'll have pieces that you've bought from like high street shops, but you'll also have pieces that are more traditional to your background or traditional to
mm,
the country that you come from. And that, you know, is special because that like your wardrobe is showing that your identity, it's not just Africa, it's both.
mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely important, and I feel like this is just the start for everyone, like for all of us, and you know, just to show that we can talk about. It's okay for us to talk about our culture and, you know, um, like where we're from, and not be, in a way, not be scared about it, because obviously, hearing from people's opinion and their thought about it is definitely scary.
Mm.
but when you actually hear it, the fact that some people can relate to it, I feel like it's very refreshing in a way. Like there is
Yeah.
someone out there that is like, it's not only you that's going through it in a way. So it's like it's all of us going through it in a way, and it's nice to come together and just show that as well.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But
No, yeah, 100%. And we shouldn't shy away from, I mean,
nothing.
like, it's important to be sensitive and it's important to be respectful, but at the same time, like,
Exactly, yeah.
you can talk about it. It doesn't have to just be very like superficial and fantasy based, that we can actually draw attention. Like, we're not going to solve it. I'm not saying fashion's going to solve
No.
um,
But
all that's going, but it's, like you said, it's a good place to start a conversation. It's a good place um to highlight what is actually going on in
yeah.
in Africa, but also us as the African like diaspora.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a long journey anyways, because I feel like fashion's been going for times and times, but it's nice to now, start off using it as like a message. Same
Mm.
way, people would do with art and photography, where they would take pictures that they know that could be, politically like related or anything like that. And like we could use our fashion and our technique, where, we could use our garments and talk about this, or, a story or a concept